What's up, guys? I'm going to throw you a curveball here and talk about a topic that you probably wouldn't expect from me, and I'm calling this the price of promiscuity. All right, we live in a hookup culture. We live in a culture where the media and everything, it seems like, is pursuing. Let's sit down. Is pursuing, pushing this hookup culture, and we're seeing now more of degradation of traditional dating values and things like that. It seems that there's a lot of people out there looking to do hookups, and for men, it's really like cool to get laid and brag about your sexual experiences. But I just want to give you sort of the contradictory or the other perspective on this, just to talk about it, get it out there, because I think it's some stuff that no one is really taking the time to discuss, all right? Because there are some negatives, there's some downsides to it, and I want to talk about it, okay? If you talk to doctors and psychologists, they will tell you that promiscuity, having multiple sexual partners, not in a relationship setting, casual sex with someone that you really don't know that well, this is considered a high-risk behavior. Why? Because it has a heavy correlation to a negative impact on your mental state. It leads to more likely to depression, anxiety, unhappiness, and it also dramatically increases your chance of disease. All right, STDs and stuff like this. So a lot of studies are showing now that casual sex and promiscuity, it's a negative association with your well-being. Okay, so the more of this you have, the less well-being you experience, and positive association to psychological distress. Okay, so the more psychological issues and problems that you're going to experience. The more sexual partners that you have, the greater chance of negative impact on your health. Okay, you dramatically increase the chances of STDs and things like prostate and cervical and oral cancer. All these type of diseases are dramatically increased as the number of partners you have increases. I know that there's also a lot of association between as the number of partners you have increases, the ability to enter into and maintain long-term healthy relationships dramatically decreases. All right, so I've met a lot of guys that are into the pickup and meeting women community that brag about how many women they've been with, and like they're so skilled and they're such an expert at getting laid quickly. But you know what? In all of them, I noticed they're completely inept and incapable of entering into healthy long-term relationships with women. Okay, so to me it seems kind of pointless and stupid to just be getting these quick hookups, hookup, going from hookup to hookup, and having a basic zero retention rate of women in your life. All right, if you're really good with women, you should be able to meet amazing women that you really connect with and keep them in your life. Okay, because if someone is amazing, they would increase the quality of your life. So why would you not want to keep them around, right? It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. I was recently reading a medical study where it shows that there's actually a massive overlap between promiscuity and a ton of other unhealthy behaviors, all right? I forget the list, but it's things like poor diet, lack of sleep, heavy correlation to smoking, heavy drinking, drug abuse, and all these factors obviously lead to negative impact on your health and heart disease and all types of medical problems, that they're all sort of linked to the same type of behaviors. To me, it seems like chasing short-term pleasure or almost using external variables to manage your state and not be able to manage your state naturally from within. They did a lot of studies with college kids, and they found that a lot of them are, in that phase of party, hookup, and they're trying to chase these hookups to try to show that they're an individual, to show that they're an individual, independent adult that could do whatever they want. However, hookups in college students correlates with anxiety and depression. It's really crazy. You'd think that the way that the culture is that the more hookups you have, the happier you'll be, but the opposite is what is actually happening when you look at the data, when you talk to people, when you put together studies on the topic. As someone that travels a lot, something that I noticed is the social atmosphere for sexuality, like expressing your sexuality and flirting in other countries seems more healthy, more open. And in America, there seems to be a very weird dynamic. Like, it's socially, sexually awkward, and like men are afraid to flirt, people are afraid to express their sexuality, but yet people will dress more sexual here maybe, or looking at sexuality through newspapers, magazines, the media, the social media today more than ever. But yet, when it comes to actually expressing their sexuality, they're really doing it in venues that are, alcohol, using drugs, and this is something that is a really weird way to express your sexuality, because alcohol and drugs leads to obviously poor judgment, and maybe making bad decisions, maybe having unprotected sex with strangers, things like that, which is just extremely problematic and unhealthy and very risky behavior. Whereas in other cultures, I found, because they're more open to sexuality and flirting and expressing it in everyday life, it's more normal and more likely that you're having, let's call it healthy sex, all right? Sex sober with someone that you actually know, that you're actually dating, and it's just more normal to be sexual throughout life. In America, it seems like there's some shame tied to sexuality, expressing sexuality in general. So it has to manifest out in the nightlife, in the nightclub, with drugs and alcohol and partying and hookups, and it's something that then the next day you feel awkward about. In my opinion, now my viewpoint on hookup culture is it tends to really hyper focus in on do what feels good in the present moment, while ignoring how you'll feel after, or while ignoring the after effects that it will actually have on your life, all right? Ignoring the risks and the dangers of pursuing this. Another topic is, I talk to men and I talk a lot about ambition and wanting to be successful. Well, I now think of it as, if you're an ambitious guy who wants more out of life, who's trying to chase goals and create the lifestyle you want to create, you could do that much better from a stable relationship, or having more intimacy with a woman, than from going out chasing random hookups, all right? Going out chasing new girls all the time, that is a very time-consuming, energy-consuming pursuit, way to live, all right? So if you get your dating life locked in, you're now free to focus more exclusively on your mission, your goals, your dreams, the lifestyle that you want to be living, and your dating life is already handled, so you don't have to worry about it. A lot of studies are also showing that promiscuity is linked to having low self-esteem, and so people with low self-esteem are seeking out casual sex and hookups as a way to feel loved, to get attention, to get ego validation, to show other guys how cool they are. Healthy, confident people with high self-esteem derive feeling good and their well-being from having skills and being competent in things that they're either naturally good at or that they've developed being good at. Okay, that's the healthy way to get this type of validation, rather than chasing short-term, meaningless pursuit of sex with random partners. And again, it's just, to me, as someone who's been out of the country for so long and comes back, it seems really weird here. It feels like the bulk of sex is happening under the influence of alcohol and drugs and partying environment, and to me that says something really deep about the culture, the how the culture here views sexuality. There is some type of link to shame, that it's this awkward, weird thing that you have to get loose and have a few drinks to loosen up, to even have the liquid courage to approach girls and make this type of sexual encounters happen. All right, I think that it should be happening under more sober circumstances, where both people are thinking clearly, and there is not going to be this sort of awkwardness the next day of like never talking to the person again, or seeing them and it's awkward. It feels weird here after being in Colombia and cultures where sexuality has just a very healthy view through everyday life. So kind of rambled on about a bunch of different topics here. I just want to say in summary, all the studies show that promiscuity leads to, in general, more depression, anxiety, and health risks. Long-term relationships are proven to be linked to greater health, happiness, and psychological well-being. All right, so I know a lot of guys out there want to pretend that they are the outlier or whatever, the exception to the rule, that can go and have a million hookups and it won't affect them negatively. I just wanted to get this video out there because of what I do with the dating coaching and stuff for the last few years. A lot of guys are really putting too much emphasis on hookups, or like a preoccupation with getting laid, and they're really neglecting and ignoring or avoiding intimacy and deeper, more meaningful relationships, and also the topic of having this risky sex under the influence of alcohol and drugs rather than healthy, sober, safer sex, right? One observation I've made personally is that the guys that are into pickup, the guys that brag the most about their lay counts, about how many girls they've been with, there is an extremely strong correlation that these guys are neglecting other areas of their life, and typically it's their money life, okay? I notice a lot of guys that go out and get laid left and right, they are broke or near broke, and they're completely incompetent with money, and a lot of times they're going from job to job. They're just unstable in general. It seems in all their core areas of their life, the more likely that they're chasing hookups, the more unstable they are, all right? So this is just a topic I wanted to talk about. If you agree with me, throw comments in the comment section. If you disagree, go ahead and throw comments in there, and I'll reply to every single one. All right, if you like this type of content, you can click subscribe. You can hit the notifications bell so you know when I release new videos. And thanks so much for watching. I'll see you soon.